Me? Are you sure? I mean, I guess if that's what they really want. I don't know about this though. Hi, I'm Velvet Spade. Wasn't supposed to be here tonight, but here I am. So I am going to read to you The Bells by Edgar Allan Poe. Hear the sledges with the bells, silver bells. What a world of merriment their melody foretells! How they tinkle, tinkle, tinkle in the icy air of night, while the stars that oversprinkle all the heavens seem to twinkle with a crystalline delight, keeping time, time, time in a sort of runic rhyme to the tintinnabulation that so musically wells from the bells, 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 from the jingling and the tinkling of the bells. Hear the mellow wedding bells, golden bells. What a world of happiness their harmony foretells. Through the balmy air of night, how they ring out their delight. From the molten golden notes and all in tune, what a liquid ditty floats. To the turtle dove that listens while she gloats on the moon. Oh, from out the sounding cells, what a gush of euphony voluminously swells. I don't know why I keep trying to say wells when it's or swells when it wells. Okay. Anyway, how it swells, how it dwells on the future, how it tells of the rapture that impels to the swinging and the ringing of the bells, 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 of the bells, 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 to the rhyming and the chiming of the bells. Hear the loud alarum bells, brazen bells. What a tale of terror now their turbulency tells. In the startled ear of night, how they scream out there affright. Too much horrified to speak, they can only shriek, shriek, shriek. Oh wait, it's only two shrieks. Out of tune, in a clamorous appealing to the mercy of the fire, in a mad expostulation with the deaf and frantic fire, leaping higher, 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 with a desperate desire, and a resolute endeavor now, to sit or never, by the side of the pale-faced moon. Oh, the bells, 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 what a tale their terror tells. Tongue twister. Of despair. How they clang and clash and roar. What a horror they outpour on the bosom of the palpitating air. Yet the ear it fully knows, by the twanging and the clanging, how the danger ebbs and flows. Yet the ear distinctly tells, in the jangling and the wrangling, how the danger sinks and swells, by the sinking or the swelling in the anger of the bells, of the bells, of the bells, 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 in the clamor and the clangor of the bells. Hear the tolling of the bells, iron bells. What a world of solemn thought their monody compels. In the silence of the night, how we shiver with affright, at the melancholy menace of their tone, for every sound that floats from the rust within their throats is a groan, and the people, the people, that dwell up in the steeple all alone, and who tolling, 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 in that muffled monotone, feel a glory in so rolling on the human heart a stone. They are neither man nor woman, same. They are neither brute nor human, same. They are ghouls. And their king it is who tolls, and he rolls, 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 rolls. A paean from the bells. I don't know what that word means. And he dances and he yells, keeping time, 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 in a sort of runic rhyme to the paean, still don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, of the bells, keeping time, 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 in a sort of runic rhyme to the throbbing of the bells, 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 to the sobbing of the bells, keeping time, 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 as he knells, 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 in a happy runic rhyme to the rolling of the bells, 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 to the tolling of the bells, 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 to the moaning and the groaning of, can you guess what? The bells. So that's that. My thoughts on the poem. It's fun. I like the idea of it, of going through the different types of bells that there are, I guess. But it also kind of seems like weak as far as like poetry goes, like in that it kind of seems like he was just like looking through a thesaurus or whatever, like, hey, what rhymes with this word? Like, what rhymes with bells? What rhymes with, you know? So anyway, I'm sorry to start you off with such a weird poem this evening, but there's plenty more to come, so let's get right into the rest of it, and welcome to Plastered with Poe.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome to Plastered with Poe, episode 2.
Week 2, yeah.
Yeah. Week 2 of a 3-week series. We are halfway in, and we're going to bring you a lot more presenters getting wasted and talking about their favorite works of Edgar Allan Poe.
It's going to be very spooky.
Very spooky.
Let's get right into it.
Mm-hmm.
So without further ado, next up we have one of my favorite people in the world. That would be the co-producer to my heart, to my production company, Sundown Striptease, to this very show. That would be the fabulous Dick Jones.
Oh my god, it's me, you guys.
Yeah.
This is like future me talking to drunk me later, because I actually haven't filmed this yet.
Which is making it all the more funny.
Yeah.
So what poem or story are you doing here?
I'm doing my favorite short story, which is The Cask of Amontillado.
Ooh, very exciting.
Yeah, it's all about revenge and bullshittery. Like, it's very petty, you guys.
More of my favorite themes.
Very petty.
More of my favorite themes.
Yeah, no, the title of this episode should just be like Everything That Velvet Loves.
I mean, well, you know. Well, without further ado, let's get to it, Dick.
All right. I just... Here we go. I've got my red wine. It is not Amontillado. Not even close. it's Francia. But yeah, here we are. Here we go. I'm gonna tell you the story of Edgar Allan Poe's The Cask of Amontillado. Okay, here we go. Fuck. So it's all told from the perspective of this guy. This one guy who is just like, this man has wronged me. Like, he is a shit. He has wronged me. We're never quite sure how he's wronged Montresor, but he has. He has been wronged. And Montresor, this guy, this wine guy, he loves wine. Montresor loves wine. Fortunato loves wine. So Montresor has come up with a plan to fuck over Fortunato. He tells Fortunato, he's like, hey bitch, I have this wine. I have a cask of this wine. This cask is Amontillado. This like really great Spanish wine. And it's in my vaults. And I'm not sure, like, the dude that sold it to me told me it was Amontillado, but I'm just not sure. So do you want to like fucking help me figure out if this is what it is? This is not Amontillado. Not even a little bit. Amontillado is supposed to be a white wine. But yeah, no, you know. So the way that he lures this man who has wronged him, he has done him so much wrong. The way he lures him into his vault is by saying like, yeah, I got this Amontillado, which is a very rare and expensive and apparently like great wine. I got it in my vaults, and this guy told me this is what it is, but I'm not sure that's what it is. So do you want to help me? And, you know, this other dude, Fortunato, is like, fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. I love wine. I know wine. And I know my Amontillado from my Merlot or my Malbec or whatever the fuck. Yeah, so he's gonna help him. Sweet Jesus, I drank too much wine for this. Oh my God. So here we go. Montresor hates this dude. He wants to murder him, but he's gonna do it in a very fucking petty way because he is a petty bitch. He gets this guy who he hates, Fortunato. He lures him into his vaults with the promise of this very beautiful, expensive wine, this Amontillado. And like literally everything is just, oh God damn it, it's so beautiful. It's carnival. That's also a thing that's happening right now. It's carnival. And Fortunato is dressed like a fool. Which is like, yeah, that's definitely gonna hit us later. Ho 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 ho. But he convinces Fortunato to come into his vault so that he can check out this wine and make sure that it's really Amontillado. It's really this like famous fancy Spanish wine. And like Fortunato's like, fuck yeah, of course, yes. I'm a wine snob too, but I'm also very drunk and it's carnival and I'm wearing this cap of like, it's like a jester's cap, and I'm being very happy because it's carnival. And I'm just gonna like shake my bells around. because it's carnival. And yeah, Montresor is like, yeah, you do that, come on, but like also let's go inside this tomb. This tomb where there are bodies. So they keep going further and further into this tomb. And Fortunato, like, every once in a while is like, oh, this is weird. Like, I'm seeing, like, bones and shit. What's going on here? And Montresor is like, no, that's cool. It's fine. You just keep going. And Fortunato's like, yeah, no, you're right. Like, let's just drink more wine about it. No, like, he really, like, every time he feels weird, he just is like, oh, okay. No, but there's this bottle of wine we can drink. And that will make everything all better. So they keep going. They keep going into these catacombs. The catacombs of Montresor's family, apparently. Like, that's, you know, what we're doing, where we're going. And we get deep, 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 deep into these catacombs. Okay. We get to the point where there's like a little enclave. And Montresor is like, yeah, no, just keep going. Just keep walking, buddy. You just keep walking. It's fine. And, you know, Fortunato does. Fortunato walks into this little enclave and Montresor is like, all right. I've got you. And this is the moment where things get real. Like, this is what Montresor has been waiting for. Apparently, Fortunato has pissed him off enough that he's just like, I need to be done with this peasant. Fuck this guy. All we know is that he's mad enough about it that he wants to bury this dude up against a wall about it. And that's when, that's when the real bullshit starts. That's when Montresor is like, okay, I'm gonna push you against a wall and I'm gonna handcuff you to this wall. And now you're done. You're so done. No, he hates him apparently enough that he wants to wall this man up alive. He wants to hear him suffer. And he hears the little jingling. The jingling of his hat, the jingling of his little jester hat. But he doesn't give a shit about it. Like, no, this man is like, he's like a fucking malignant narcissist. Like, he's awful. He hears the jangling of those bells. And he doesn't even care. And then here we are. He's breaking this man up into a wall. And at first the dude's like, oh God, I don't even know what's happening. But like, you know, he gets to a point where he's like, oh shit, this is real. And here we are. This dude is breaking me up into a wall. What the fuck do I do? Oh God, no, I don't even know. Oh my, he breaks this man up into a wall. It's very fucked up. My favorite exchange in this entire story is when Fortunato looks at Montresor and he says, for the love of God, Montresor. And Montresor responds, yes. For the love of God. God, I'm so fucking drunk. I can't even, fuck. This is the cask of Amontillado, everyone.
Welcome back.
Yes.
So that was Dick Jones.
That was me doing a thing. I'm gonna get plastered tomorrow, and this is like future me talking to present me,
And then in the future we'll talk about past tense conversation. When we're in the stream.
It's all I don't understand the timeline.
We're breaking the fourth wall.
Yeah.
Yes.
But hopefully it's great, and I was hopefully very funny.
Indeed. I think you're funny in general.
Oh.
So I have faith. Next up we have Rain Grimm.
Yes, Rain Grimm is bringing me my second. This is my second favorite Poe story because it's really weird.
Yeah, I think they made a movie about this one too, didn't they?
I think so.
Yeah.
So Rain Grimm is bringing you their very plastered interpretation of The Fall of the House of Usher.
I'm very excited about that.
It's creepy, spooky, goth gorgeousness, and I can think of no one else better to present it.
Absolutely. I'm 100% in agreement. So without further ado, doing The Fall of the House of Usher, Rain Grimm.
Oh boy.
Hello, and let us discuss the house. Not the house. The Fall of the House of the Usher. Not a standing house, it doesn't stand up very long. Spoiler, the house falls at the end. The narrator comes upon the house of Usher, where the protagonist's friend resides. The protagonist takes a look at the house and is like, this house is full of gloom. Gloom everywhere. Gloom out the windows. Gloom out the door. Gloom out the windows. Gloom on the roof. Gloom on the roof. Gloom everywhere. Just everywhere. Gloom. 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 Everywhere. It's just everywhere. It's the whole... There's 5 paragraphs of just him saying the house is gloomy and doomy. So, he gets closer to the house and he sees weird lights coming around it. Not like weird rave lights, weird disco lights, weird there's a house party here going on lights, because the opposite of that's going on here. The weird lights and aura and dusk and colors and shit and all that. Or something. He sees something. He's tripping. I don't know what he's on, but he's tripping. Maybe it's all the doom. Doom. All of that fun stuff. And then his servant, not his servant, he doesn't have a servant, he's not rich. His friend's servant comes out of the house, takes his horse somewhere far away from this terrible place, preferably. So he walks into the foyer. Fancy. That's fancy talk for I have a house with rooms, many rooms. And his friend comes out of this creepy dark hallway, because this entire house is just creepy dark hallways and windows that you can't get into. It's a very specific direction. There's a very specific description of a window that you can't get into. It's too high to get into. That was very important, the author felt. He felt it's very important to know that you can't escape through the windows. It's a terrible house. So his friend comes in and he's looking very morose and sad and sunken and sad and depressed and sad because he's sick. His friend comes in basically looking like a Tim Burton cartoon. Very large eyes, sunken skin, morose. Very doom. The entire atmosphere is doom. In case you didn't pick that up. His friend talks about how the Usher family has existed for such a long time, and I think there's something about lineage, something here, I don't know, it's not very important. And he says, but my sister is also sick. And at that moment, the sister walks through, just very creepily, just walks past, just walks through the thing, and then disappears. As you can see, my sister is very sick. She can't even do anything. She can just walk and disappear into the doors. That's all she can do. It's very tragic. So she passes, and then they decide to bury her in the house because it is an Edgar Allan Poe story and everybody has to die in someone's house. Also, the friend is just like, well, they don't want doctors to examine her body because she's so very weird in her ailment. They'll be like, they'll just want to dissect her like a frog. Just open up her guts and just display her. They'll disembowel her insides, put her trachea over here. They'll take out her guts, her whatever organs are in here, because I forgot science class, and just put them on display, and then they'll just staple her all over the place. Maybe, I don't know, maybe that's what he was imagining. And then they take her to a deep, dirty, disgusting basement, because that's where they'll be buried. In true Edgar Allan Poe fashion. And the protagonist comments, wow, her cheeks are so rosy and red. How beautiful. He does not say that. Her cheeks are so rosy and red. I guess this is how dead people look. This was before technology, making sure people were dead before they actually buried them. So they buried her in a casket, presumably. After the passing of his sister, his manner just deteriorated. He just became more sunken, more sick, more morose. And then they thought, it's the house. The house is causing the sickness. That's the sickness leaving me. The house is causing the sickness. The house is the gloom, the source of the gloom. Everybody's so sick because of the house. So doomy and gloomy. The narrator's just tossing and turning in his sleep, and then his friend just clambers into his room hysterically, just like, oh, I cannot sleep or something. I am feeling so many emotions. And then the narrator's just like, let me read you a bedtime story. Perhaps chance this will help you fall asleep. Perchance this will make you fall asleep. And then, as he was reading, he heard for a pause a sound. A sound asunder. That's not the word. A sound somewhere. Somewhere it existed, and it was a loud, screechy sound. I imagine it sounded like that, or something along the lines of that. Came wriggling, but then it disappeared. So I paid no mind to it. But the good champion Ethelred, now entering within the door, was sore enraged and amazed to perceive no signal. I don't know how that developed into a Scottish hybrid accent. No signal of the maliceful hermit, but in the stead thereof a dragon of scaly and prodigious demeanor, and of a fiery tongue, was sate in guard before the palace of gold, with a floor of silver, and upon the wall there hung a shield of shining brass, with his legend unwritten, who entereth herein a conqueror hath been, who slayeth the dragon, the shield he shall win. There's much more here, but I don't feel like reading that. And so they hear the sound again. It's a loud, shrieking sound. I imagine something like that, piercing, shrinking. And then as he was reading, the narrator noticed his friend was slowly turning his chair to the door. It wasn't because of his bad storytelling, as you can tell of me, but it was because he knew there was a sound coming. He sensed something was coming. His friend, not the narrator's reading the book, he didn't sense anything. And then the sound, it comes back again. Not hear it? Yes, I hear it and have heard it. Long, many minutes, many hours, many days, I wretched it, heard it, whatever. Have I heard it? Yes, I dare not. Oh, pity. Okay, there's so much here. I'm not going to read that. Madman, I tell you, she now stands without the door. And as he reads that in the story, a ghost appears in the door, but not really a ghost. They just buried the sister because she wasn't dead. The reason her cheeks were so rosy is because she was still alive. And then she saw the brother and she was just like, because I'm pretty sure she was very pissed about being buried alive. I mean, I would. Her entire dress was full of scratches, or maybe her dress wasn't. That makes no sense. Sister stood at the doorway. There was blood upon her white robes and the evidence of some bitter struggle upon every portion of her emaciated frame. She was buried alive and she had to scrape her way out. She just had to... And so she was very pissed when she came out. She's like, how the fuck could you bury me alive? My cheeks were rosy. Did that not send a signal? And so she came upon the brother. The brother was just like, ah! And he died. Just like that. He just died. They both died. They're both dead now. And so the narrator's just like, okay, fuck this. I'm out, dude. Peace out. And so he runs away. He just runs away, runs out the house. And good timing, too, because the entire house just cracks and falls because it's the fall of the house of the usher. Well, the house of Usher, not the usher. It's not just about one church usher. Ugh. Wait, am I recording this? It is recording.
So,
Yes.
that was Rain Grim.
Give it up for Rain Grim, everybody. Give it up from your bedrooms, your couches, your toilet seats, wherever you are right now. Because we know at least some of you are on the toilet right now watching this from your phones.
I know I'm probably going to be on my toilet watching this later.
Mm-hmm.
So, as we started out this show with a poem, we so end this show with another poem. That poem coming from what?
It's coming from the New York, New Jersey area. But this person actually grew up in Baltimore.
Wow. So they probably heard some stories all their life growing up.
Yeah.
Very
so
cool.
they are from the home of Poe, and they have a lot of feelings on Edgar Allan Poe, and specifically on this particular poem.
And they're gonna talk about them.
Yes. And this poem is Berenice.
Berenice.
Poe liked to write poems about ladies. Just sad lady poetry. That's what he wrote.
I'm into it. Again,
Yes,
one of my favorite
Velvet's
things.
favorite things.
Sad lady poetry. Yep. So,
Was Poe
Just-
the original emo boy? He's the original sad boy.
So yeah, original emo boy, Edgar Allan Poe. Very cool.
19th century sad boy.
Into it. It's my type.
If you ain't from the 1800s, you don't get none of this. What is wrong?
Turn that into a song. That's gonna be on Dick's next mixtape. Don't forget to tip either the performer or us or both, and we will make sure that everybody gets paid. Thank you so much for sticking with us through all of this. And again, doing Berenice Lily Hayes.
Yay!
Hello, my spooky friends. My name is Lily Hayes. I'm very excited to be a part of Plastered with Poe tonight. Cheers. Now, I'm from Baltimore originally, so Edgar Allan Poe is near and dear to my heart. I've loved his stories for many years, and the story that I'm about to present to you tonight is not one of the more well-known tales. It is called Berenice. This story is dark, it is devious, and it is disturbing. Several years ago, I saw a play adaptation of this story, and it has stuck with me ever since. And I'm very excited to share it with you all tonight. So without further ado, here we go. The Tale of Berenice by Edgar Allan Poe. Here we see the title character of our story, Berenice, a lovely, happy young woman, healthy, carefree, and completely unaware of the horrors that are about to befall her. Berenice grew up in an ancestral home with her cousin, Aegeus, who we see here. As Aegeus says in the story, Berenice and I were cousins, and we grew up together in my paternal halls. Yet differently we grew, I ill of health and buried in gloom, she agile, graceful, and overflowing with energy, hers the ramble on the hillside, mine the studies of the cloister, I living within my own heart and addicted body and soul to the most intense and painful meditation, she roaming carelessly through life with no thought of the shadows in her path or the silent flight of the raven-winged hours. Aegeus was a bookish and studious young man, spending most of his waking hours in the family library. His mother had actually given birth to him in the library and then promptly died. Aegeus would become fascinated by minutiae or particular subjects. He called this a monomania. When this came upon him, his studies would take a darker turn. He would go into a trance-like state, or meditation as he called it, and he would fixate on whatever had caught his eye for hours or even days. The flickering of a candle, the shape of a flower, or a particular passage in a book would occupy him until he had worn himself out on the subject and then would awaken from his trance. And as for Berenice, that vibrant and happy, carefree young woman became sick with a mysterious illness. As Aegeus put it, the spirit of change swept over her, pervading her mind, her habits, and her character, and, in a manner most subtle and terrible, disturbing even the identity of her person. Alas, the destroyer came and went, and the victim, where was she? I knew her not, or knew her longer, as Berenice. He goes on to say that her illness would occasionally place her in a trance-like state, much like his own condition. This pale, sickly, sad creature did not provoke sympathy in her cousin. Aegeus freely admits that he had never really been one for matters of the heart, that he had been too preoccupied with intellectual pursuits. As he says, during the brightest days of her unparalleled beauty, most surely I had never loved her. And then he goes on to say, and now, I shuddered in her presence, grew pale at her approach, yet, bitterly lamenting her fallen and desolate condition, I called to mind that she had loved me long, and, in an evil moment, I spoke to her of marriage. And thus the two cousins became engaged. Interestingly, Edgar Allan Poe married his 13-year-old cousin, Virginia Clem, when he was 27. Just thought you'd like to know that. Anyway, one day, Aegeus's cousin, fiancée, Berenice, came into the library while he was studying, and he caught sight of her teeth. Now, you would think this would be an inconsequential thing, but remember that Aegeus tends to fixate on specific subjects. As he says, that brief period of her smile had sufficed to brand them upon my memory. I saw them now even more unequivocally than I beheld them then. The teeth! The teeth! They were here and there and everywhere and visibly and palpably before me. Long, narrow, and excessively white, with pale lips wriggling around them. Aegeus sits in contemplation of Berenice's teeth for a day, and through the night, and a second day, and into a second night, when suddenly he is disturbed by the sound of troubled voices. He hears shouting and wonders what's going on. Coming out of his trance, he sees a servant before him, and the servant tells him that Berenice has died. She was taken by one of her fits and did not recover. And even now she's being prepared for burial, and her grave awaits her. But unfortunately for poor Berenice, it was not to be a peaceful rest in the grave. And as for Aegeus, he finds himself in the library. He realizes it's after midnight, and Berenice must have already been buried. He must have been in one of his trances. There's a vague sense of horror, but he doesn't know why. He realizes his hands have scratches on them, as if someone had clawed at him with their nails. He doesn't understand what's happened, and in front of him on the floor, there's a spade. Why is that there? What's going on? He can't remember what happened. And beside him is a box. Aegeus takes the box. He wants to look inside, but at the same time there is a feeling of horror. And he knows he should not, but he has to know. He looks into the box, and inside are Berenice's teeth. And that's not the worst part. A servant comes rushing in and tells Aegeus that while he had been in his trance, a most horrible thing had occurred. As Aegeus says, he told of a wild cry disturbing the silence of the night, of the gathering together of the household, of a search in the direction of the sound. And then his tones grew thrillingly distinct as he whispered me of a violated grave, of a disfigured body enshrouded, yet still breathing, still alive.
Yes! Give it up for Lily Hayes, everybody.
Lily Hayes in the house.
Yes! Like blowing through this. We're doing great right now.
But yeah, so again, this is very sad because it is our final performance, but you're welcome that there is another performance. Next up, we have Nikki Nikolai.
Yes!
Yeah.
Nikki Nikolai.
Nikki is an amazing local performer, local to New Orleans. They do drag, puppy play. Is that
Yes, they're like a cute little puppy boy.
Yeah. All kinds of really crazy stuff. They are a devil after my own heart, and I'm really excited for their next poem.
Yes. No, they're doing the short story, the one that everyone loves.
Ooh.
The Telltale Heart.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Very exciting.
Yes. So let's see what the beating of his hideous heart will bring.
Mm-hmm.
Nikki Nikolai.
Consequence at hand, but I keep living this day like the next will never come. Oh, help me, but don't tell me to deny it. I gotta cleanse myself of all these lies till I'm good enough for him. I got a lot to lose and I'm betting high, so I'm begging you before it ends, just tell me where to begin. Hey, what I need is a good defense, 'cause I'm feeling like a criminal, and I need to be
welcome back.
Yes.
Boy, that was fun.
Give it up for Nikki Nikolai.
It was everything that I anticipated and more.
Yes. And
So, if you thought that was exciting, you can only imagine what's coming for you in week 3. And
the finale.
yeah, the finale. We're very excited about this. And I'm sure you've all been wondering why I'm dressed like this tonight. And I'm sure that if you come next week, you will find out.
You sure will. The finale is gonna be like fucking dynamite.
We got
so
a lot
excited for
of things going on. A lot of things happening.
So thank you for watching this week's episode of Plastered with Poe. We will bring you more drunken poetry.
Haha!
Yes, I didn't come up with that poem myself, so I can't claim credit for it.
But it was still funny.
We will be bringing you more drunken poetry next week, same time, Sunday, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time.
And hey, if you like this, share it with your friends. See if they want to, watch and tip us.
Yeah, keep feeding nightlife performers.
Yeah, this is your locals. This is your friends, your family. They need it.
Keep our lights on.
Yeah, obviously, I don't have lights anymore. All I have is this candle. So,
yeah, so like, you know what to do. We love you. Come join us next week.
signing off. Sundown Striptease.